Hey everybody, thank you for watching my last video. I apologize that it was indeed sideways and not the way it should have been. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix that. I'm just very computer illiterate, so you have to bear with me. And I just wanted to do a little introductory video on how I found Wicca and a little background about me, so you can get to know me a little bit. And I apologize for the little lack that you're probably experiencing in the quality, since I have a dinky little video camera. So, I went to church with my parents when I was little, and it was a church called Faith Presbyterian, and I remember that we would have to wear dresses and high heels, and I would hate it because I just don't like wearing that kind of stuff very much. And I would find that church really boring. So we did stop going for a while, which I didn't mind, honestly. And one day I decided to get a little bit more serious about church and everything, because I've had Christian values shoved down my throat all my life. And I went with my neighbors to their church, which at the time was St. Martin's in the Field. And I would only go pretty much after a while because I really liked the way they did their communion, so I'd always look forward to the bread and wine. And so that was pretty much the only reason why I went. I didn't really care about the message they were conveying or any of their belief. And one day, it was shortly after Halloween, I decided to go with my neighbors to this place that the Baptist Church, or this program that the Baptist Church would put on every year, and it was called Judgment House. And basically it was a youth group putting on a little skit in just individual rooms showing a situation that would arise, whether it be a plane crash, car crash, whatever. And half the people who were saved would go to heaven, and those who were unsaved would go to hell. So they would basically show you a scenario where people were in hell, they were thirsty and pain all the time, and they were crying out to God for relief. And then there was another room where it was heaven, things were fluffy-duffy, whatever. And then you were taken to a final room, and this angel would read off a list, and he would say, "Are you prepared for death?" or something like that. So basically that just pretty much scared the shit out of me. So I decided to start reading the Bible and everything, and I would pray the penance prayer several times a day because I was so scared of going to hell. So I started going to church with my neighbors and actually being interested. And after a while, they switched churches, and I think about 2001, 2002, somewhere in there, because the church actually did their jobs and accepted a gay bishop. And I really didn't agree with how my neighbors handled that, because they just up and left the church. But of course I was about 10 or 11 at the time, so I didn't fully understand the bigotry behind that. So we went to a church that was called Res Anglican, and that's where they currently are today. And excuse me, basically, long story short, I would believe everything that the church would say about witchcraft and witches. And me and my neighbor, we would do weekly Bible studies on Sunday after church, and we would do these things called God sightings, which, you know, you talk about all the blessings that God was doing in your life, blah blah blah. And after a while, I started seeing the contradictions within the Bible, which I'm not going to get fully into, but I was just basically asking myself, how can someone who loves you so much just want to threaten you with the threat of hellfire all the time? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I started searching, and this was about 2004, so I was a sophomore in high school, and it was recommended to me that I read a book from Scott Cunningham cliche enough, his book, Wicca for a Solitary Practitioner, which I really love. And I basically read it, but I didn't read it per se. I saw, the words on the page, but I didn't really fully comprehend, I guess, in a way, what they were saying. So basically, me with my Christian programming set in place so hardcore, it pretty much said demon, 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 along those lines. And so I kind of waged war in between, like, Christianity and finding something else. But the thing that held me back for so many years was, one, if I really did leave the church and Christianity, I was scared of the threat of going to hell, and, who wants to go to hell? And two, was Wicca really for me? Was any other religion really for me? And I just thought about it for a while, and I always knew I had this really special connection with nature. And at times when I was little, I would find myself staring up at the moon, just perplexed by it. So, excuse me, I just knew deep down in my heart that a nature-based religion was for me. And so, after years of struggling and everything, and one night, I will never forget this, I was standing downstairs by our French doors where it goes out onto our deck, and I was, vivid memory here, I was eating a yogurt, and I was just feeling those goddess energies, and I was reading a little bit about that, and I just felt her energies just soak into me, and I admit I was a little scared, but I was also intrigued by it, and I was also thinking, again with our Christian programming, what if this is some type of trick of the devil? What if this is demons? And, sorry, it feels like I'm gonna sneeze. I love allergies. So, if I sneeze, I apologize. So I was like, okay, what if this is just a trick? So, I kind of waged war with that for a while, and then I went to my very, very first Beltane, which I had no idea what to expect. And looking back on it now, it's kind of funny, but I didn't have any knowledge of circle casting and what you do for the maypole or anything. So when they did that, I was like, oh my god, what a bunch of freaks. So I was a little freaked out at that point. But something told me just to keep reading and try to understand it. And, excuse me, there was a lot of times when I was like, oh my god, these people are freaks. They talk to the plants, hug trees, whatever. But then I just really, really thought about it, and I've lost lots of sleep thinking about it in the past. And I was still scared of the threat of hell. But in the summer around Litha of 2010, I just decided to take that final leap and to just go into witchcraft and just see what it could offer me. And I just felt like after a while, when I actually read the words on the page when it comes to a book talking about witchcraft, I felt shocked at what was really there. Because it wasn't anything like the church tells you. It wasn't anything to do with demons or Satan or dark forces. It was just people upholding the old ways. Even though Wicca is not exactly old, it's fairly modern. But the idea of the spirit of paganism is holding, century-old ways and believing in both male and female deities. So I was shocked by that, and then I just felt this really strong connection to nature, which I've always felt because I've always loved being out in nature. So I found my belonging in witchcraft and everything. Then when I actually had a basic ideal of a ritual, I went to a local Wiccan church here that I happened to find, and they were doing a Mabon ritual, and when they did that, I was just blown away. I mean, I just loved it. I was just, this is so beautiful, this is so carefree. I absolutely love it. So, I haven't really looked back since then. I haven't regretted my decision at all. It's not easy living as a witch, but it still is worth it in the end. And even though sometimes I get dirty looks, which I'm going to show off my little pagan necklaces here. Even though I get little dirty looks for my, move that up a little bit, for my awesome pagan jewelry here. This one, by the way, is from Salem. Absolutely love it. I don't regret it at all. Just center me here. I don't regret it at all. And I mean, it's just freedom of religion. We don't do anything wrong. We don't sacrifice anybody like people tend to believe. So I haven't really looked back, and I can just say that the goddess has immensely blessed me, and I'm so glad to have found her and her consort. So that's a little introductory video about me, and I just want to do more videos in the future because it's really fun. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me babble. Love and light. Blessed be.